Hey everyone, it's been a while. Thank you for staying on this channel. So in this short, I'd like to describe I created this short video on Halloween. So let's see. Okay, how it actually was made, starting with a Halloween classy. It's a pumpkin. I tried to keep all the modeling stuff procedurally. That was the purpose of the short, and I have working Houdini. So let me hide this one. But the beginning was the curve, which I've edited to actually add more functionality to this shape. We could create several groups, and this way we could get more procedural approach to the creation of the pumpkin shape. Okay, so then goes revolve. I'm trying to keep the shape very low, so this way you can manipulate the base shape. And then subdivide, so we already have a nice form, and then just using the same shape, I'm creating like these bumps on the shape, on the form of the pumpkin. Okay, so subdivision and copying around a few times, and then merge it together. So this is what we have, and then doing a VDB, smooth, and then before we convert it to polygons, I'm using the same shape. I want to have thickness to the pumpkin, so this way I'm extracting. This is the inside part, while this is the outside. Okay, so next I found from the internet this face designs of a pumpkin, which is also convenient. So I took one of the shape, and then I match it to our pumpkin, scale it a little bit, and then a few tweaks, extrusions, and converting to VDBs, and then subtracting. So this way we have thickness, and so we have that hollow shape of the pumpkin. Okay, and then a few tweaks, reshape, smooth, and convert to polygons. Alright, and here I'm using the interior as well, and converting it to polygons and coloring it to black color. Here I'm using the measure curvature, so I have this convexity and concavity, which I will use to color the pumpkin, and then I'm killing that attribute, color attribute, and I'm using the attribute transfer. So I'm transferring this black one on the interior part of the pumpkin, so whenever I color and light, I would have this dark inside. Then I'm blurring the color of the interior, so I have this smooth edges. Okay, and I'm converting my color to a custom CLR attribute. Okay, so next I'd like to create some fire out of mouth and eyes of the pumpkin. So I'm using this VDB, just tweaking it a little bit, and I'm using this as an emitter. Okay, so also, okay, so let's just finish with the emitter. Okay, so here I'm transforming it and converting it to a pyrosource. Okay, then we're using this attributes that we created here, and we'll transform. So here I have pumpkin. Okay, just a small thing. So here I'm using the same revolve, the shape, and I'm killing those polygons, but the top one, and this is the placement. So I'm having my normals and I'm fusing, but fusing into a 1 point with the normal. Okay, this way I'd like to place this pumpkin wine. Okay, so I simply draw a curve, a shape, transform it, a sample, and I'd like to add some noise, so I'm creating a gradient which works as a blend. Okay, and here I'm using like a color as the mixer, and current point shape, and noise applied shape. So this way I'm having that mix. Okay. So I'm using this circle, the group, where I'm selecting only a 1 out of 2. This way I'm creating this shape, and in the sweep I'm just rolling, twisting it, and scaling the shape. Okay, this way I'm having something like this, and then subdivide and copy it on the place where it should be. Okay, then I'm scaling it a little bit, and then I'm creating this animation. So after a while it simply rotates, looks into camera. Okay, so here is the same animation, and here I'm using the pumpkin shape as a collider. Okay, and pyro solver, it's very basic. The only thing I put some small value to the buoyancy, so I'd like to not to kind of rise the fire that much, and I'd like to also cut the fire a little bit. I want the fire kind of gone a little faster. Okay, and some basic turbulence, nothing special, just making a few tests, and that's it. Then cache. It's a very basic fire, so this way I'm kind of seeing what's happening, how much fire I get, how much smoke I get. Smoke is fine in this case for me. Okay, and then we have that line, which is the kind of a body of that Scarecrow. Okay, so I'm using this one. So so here we have the line, the point starting with 0, 1, 2, and so on. So I'd like to take this as 0. I'd like it to be on the top, and this way I can extract this point. Okay, and here I'm copying this pumpkin head. Onto this point, and the same as fire. Okay, and then trail to compute velocity, a little time shift for both fire and the head, just to shift animation. And here I'm splitting it to send it to render. Okay, the fire, the pumpkin head, and the top of the head. And here's the body, which is very simple. So there's this kind of a main trunk, and then some manipulation with so this is the top area, right? So again, okay, something like this. And then I'm adding a polyframe node to create normals, and deleting the endpoints of this curve. So here I'm reversing it again, polyframing it and sorting it, so I could have that 0 point here, and this way I have 2 points. And then I'm copying this sphere onto these points and applying basic lines with some noise applied. Okay, so these are hands of Scarecrow. And again, here I'm using polywire and something like this we have in the end. So this rope is the result of this labs tools, which is great. So there's 2 circles, which is placed on that cross part of 2 trunks, and then node does the rest. Okay, and here I think I'm also using the shape, something like this. Let me check. Profile shape. Yeah, I think. But in this case, I'm using simply rope. If I choose custom, it will use the shape. So I can delete this. Okay, and here as well, I'm adding a trail. If there are any movement to the body of the Scarecrow, and sending it to render. Okay, and the last one is the close simulations. So here I have here I have drawn a shape, the back side and the front side. Okay, and then fusing those front and back pieces, then I'm converting to claws, and I'm using the film drape, just drape, and I'm choosing the points which I would like to sew. Okay, and then we have here, I will not do the simulation, but simply okay, let's do it. So so it's to those pieces and creating this kind of t-shirt. Okay, so next I'm using a time shift, giving it a bigger value so it could rest a little bit more, then cleaning all the attributes because I'd like to use it in the simulation again, so I don't want these attributes to kind of work against me in that case. So then I'm adding more details. If I simply have more details in that case, and here I'm trying to kind of make it look old and torn. In this case I'm using some basic procedures, not kind of going deep into it. Okay, then I'm grouping it, the claw group, then here I wanted to add some kind of a long kind of a claws pieces attached to that shirt. Okay, and I'm kind of grouping it as a strings and converting it to a closed string in that case, and packing it to vellum, and close is going to close, packing it again, and here I'm adding some spirals just to kind of enrich a little bit the scene, and I'm converting it also to a string and packing it again. So here I'm unpacking it, and I'm attaching my string pieces to the claws. Okay, so we have here an attach group, so it's like a 0 point. Okay, and then we run the simulation. I will simply go with a cache, and like some pieces simply fall, but that's okay. In this case I simply need the mood and the effect to be working. Okay, so next I'm simply splitting all those pieces and creating some more or less a proper look. Okay, here we have the claws, some post-processing, and here are our ropes. Okay, something like that. I wanted to simulate separately at first, but then decided to kind of combine everything in one go, and resimulate, just run simulation once. So here in the simulation, I simply add some substeps to overall simulation and constraint duration raised to 300. Okay, some velocity damping just to kind of not to have a sliding close. Okay, and some threshold just to again just to keep the closing in place mostly. Okay, and also I've added some wind force, some turbulence, all those, and some drag. Standard wind nodes. Okay, so nothing special. So, and here I have the final result. Okay. Sometimes the viewports just go crazy. And yeah, finally adding a trail node just to compute velocity and split those apart, and ready to send it to render. Okay, and this is the final piece. Okay, so next, and also here I'm setting up the camera, and yeah, the other thing is the grass. I wanted to actually to render and simulate faster. I tried to simulation as I can. I mean, if there is no point, I'll try to kind of procedurally. So if it's possible, you try to cheat, because simulations are usually heavy to compute and it takes a lot of time. So here I have a grid, which is the ground in the case. Added some noise. Okay, normal. And scatter some points. Okay, we have our normals. So here I'm just ready to render this, and I would like to do something with a lot of points. So I have a camera animation. And I'd like to use it as a as a bounding box to collect points that are visible to camera and delete the rest. So here I'm using like starting point and freezing it at starting point, and grouping. So here volume was camera assigned, and those parameters are tweaked so I could kind of have a bigger area of points. So I'm deleting those points that are outside of the camera, and so here we have a line, some band, and I'm using the this expression to affect my p-scale attribute. So I could have a grass shape like this, as you see, and also I'm giving a color, so I could apply some color later on during the rendering. Okay, so first of all, you can simulate the grass as you simulated the claws, but I thought maybe I could try to go with another way. Another way is to kind of animate a single grass and then using for each cycling and time shifting each grass blade, which is very expensive for kind of for your computer, maybe for mine exactly. And another thing I thought, maybe I should animate the points, apply some functions to the points to have that kind of a just a slight movement, so they couldn't, so it just moves a little bit to have that illusion that the wind affects it. Okay, so here what I get in the end. So what I did, actually, I used a turbulent noise with a multiplier and a random point number of the existing points. Okay, and I use rotate, that I'm converting it to orient attribute, and this way using this noise function I'm creating that illusion of wind affecting the grass, and it's really fast, as you see. And yeah, that was enough for me. So I'm taking the points and sending them to our lobs. Okay, so here we have the grass, here we have our points and the ground, and we're ready to render. And so I've imported my camera, so I will go until the end. All right, so I have imported everything that I've created. Okay, and okay, here's the ground, I think, and here's the grass blade and points of the points of the grass. Okay, so I gave it a random color, and then I added attribute to use in the material, to use an attribute just to give random color to grass blades. Okay, everything is, the rest is the same. Okay, so, and now we have our grass field and our scarecrow. I will not go over materials. The same procedure, you assign material, you kind of use an attribute that you've created. Let's take, for example, I will take the pumpkin head, and I'm using the color attribute, that convexity attribute that I've created, and mixing them with the noise values, and adding some more noise to all those specularity and some subsurface, just kind of trying to create a more or less acceptable picture. Okay, so if I, for example, go and again here, we just switch to X view. All right. So I use the dome light with some HDRI applied to it, and then some custom lights just to give a little more shape to the Scarecrow. Okay, I tried to make it look better. So then I added some more light on the background just to kind of paint the grass with the light, and also you see like I have different grass blade colors, so it gives a little more natural kind of feeling. Okay, so after it's finished, I turn on motion blur and create some AOVs like Kurtzomat, some normals, Z depths, and yeah, in this case it was enough because I wasn't planning some heavy compositing, and then simply render it. So I try usually these days to render it square, to make a square picture, so I could then adapt it to vertical and horizontal kind of a ratio. So that's about it. What I've done in 3D, the rest was done in compositing, which I'll probably talk in another lesson if you're interested. But overall, the 3D scene is just that. I'll upload all the scene files and compositing files as well on my Boosty Patreon if you'd like to test it and to learn from it. Well, I hope the information was useful, and thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.